So we're back. He's had his snack. You did some jumping around, had a little bit of exercise, did some craft. What craft did you do? Did some footprints. Did some footprint painting. Cleaned your hooves really well. And now I thought he could have the next part of the story. Are you ready to have the next part? Okay. So the next part is what we are thinking about tomorrow on Friday, Good Friday. Have you heard of Good Friday before? So you might remember the story. Kind of. Okay. Right. Well, Good Friday is tomorrow, and this is the part of the story that happened on the very, very first Good Friday. And this part of our story is called The Road to the Cross. You're going to help me with the pages again? Okay. Hooray! Hosanna! Jesus is our King, shouted all the people. But Jesus didn't look like a king, did he? He rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. Not a fine horse, and he didn't wear rich robes, just simple clothes. He was a king of love. The people waved and cheered because they knew that he loved them, that he cared for them and he helped them. But not everybody was happy about Jesus. Quite a lot of people were disappointed. They'd hoped Jesus would lead them into battle and to drive away the enemies, and others thought Jesus was only pretending to be the Son of God. Yeah, they did. And they felt that he should be punished. You can turn the page. You ready? Jesus went to the temple and found people buying and selling, and it looked more like a market than a church or God's house. That made him sad and angry. He overturned the tables and he threw those people out, and he said, "My Father's house is for prayer. You've made it into a den of robbers." That made his enemies hate him even more. Everyone was getting ready for the festival. The festival of Passover was that week. "Jesus, where shall we be eating the Passover meal?" asked Philip. And Jesus said, "Look for a man carrying a water pot and follow him." The man wasn't hard to find. Women normally carried the water. They followed the man to a big room and laid the table for the special meal. Just see it down there. Jesus looked around. It tasted delicious. At supper, Jesus thanked God and gave his friends bread and wine and said, "I am giving you myself to set you free from all that is bad and wrong." His friends were puzzled. Then he said, one of you will hand me over to be killed." All his friends were shocked. I think that would be shocking, wouldn't it? "Well, I'll never let you down," said Peter. "Peter," Jesus said, "before the cock crows, you will have let me down 3 times. Peter shook his head. He was sure that Jesus was wrong about that. After singing together, they went out to a garden where Jesus started praying. The others tried to pray, but they were tired and they just kept falling asleep. Suddenly they saw lights of torches and soldiers coming towards them. Are you helping me with the page, Kim? Yeah, that's it. You can do it. And who was leading the soldiers? It was Judas, one of their friends. He greeted Jesus. Calmly, Jesus asked the men who they were looking for. "We want Jesus," they growled. "I am Jesus," he said. "Take me, but don't hurt my friends." So they chained Jesus and led him away. At the palace, the soldiers all made fun of him. They dressed him up like a king. They put a crown of thorns on his head. They hit him and spat at him, and then they whipped him. His frightened friends huddled outside. "Hey, you," said a girl to Peter. "You're one of his friends, aren't you?" Oh, no, said Peter. "I'm sure you were with him," said the man. "I wasn't," said Peter. "You came from the same place as Jesus," said another girl. "No, I don't know the man," shouted Peter. And as he said that, the cock crowed. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Jesus turned and looked at him, and you can guess how bad Peter felt. Can you see? Let me show you this picture. There they are, whipping Jesus. Then Jesus was taken to a Roman governor, Pilate. "I can't find anything wrong with him," he told the crowd. "But they keep shouting, 'Crucify him, he should die.'" "Why?" said Pilate. "Because he says he is the Son of God," they screamed. In the end, Pilate handed Jesus over to the angry crowd. They made him carry his cross. They made him carry it out of the city to a hill. They nailed his hands and his feet to the cross, and they left him there to die, between 2 thieves. "Father, forgive them," Jesus prayed. "They don't understand what they are doing." There we can see the picture of Jesus on the cross. At last, Jesus died. The sky went dark, and there was an earthquake. His friends were very, very sad. Jesus had loved people. He had made them better. And now he was dead. Gently they lifted his body down from the cross, and they laid it in a cave, in a garden. It seemed like the end of everything, but it wasn't the end. A few days later, that cave would be empty and Jesus would be alive again. We're going to leave the story there and leave the final part of our story for our next session. Is that okay? Even though that's a very sad part of the story, we also know it is an incredible part of the story. It was all part of God's plan, that he could save us. So, bye-bye for now until next time.